Trump wins 2024 New Hampshire primary. Former President Donald Trump easily won New Hampshire's primary on Tuesday, seizing command of the race for the Republican nomination and making a November rematch against President Joe Biden feel all the more inevitable. The result was a setback for Nikki Haley, who finished second. Trump's allies ramped up pressure on Haley to leave the race before the polls had closed, but Haley vowed after the results were announced to continue her campaign. "This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go," Haley said, while some in the crowd cried, "It's not over." Trump, meanwhile, can now boast of being the first Republican presidential candidate to win open races in Iowa and New Hampshire since both states began leading the election calendar in 1976, a striking sign of how rapidly Republicans have rallied around him to make him their nominee for the third consecutive time. At his victory party Tuesday night, Trump repeatedly insulted Haley and gave a far angrier speech than after his Iowa victory, when his message was one of Republican unity. "Let's not have someone take a victory when she had a very bad night," Trump said. With easy wins in both early states, Trump is demonstrating an ability to unite the GOP's factions firmly behind him. He's garnered support from the evangelical conservatives who are influential in Iowa and New Hampshire's more moderate voters, strength he hopes to replicate during the general election. Trump posted especially strong results in the state's most conservative areas, while Haley won more liberal parts. About half of GOP primary voters said they are very or somewhat concerned that Trump is too extreme to win the general election, according to AP Votecast, a survey of the state's electorate. As South Carolina's former governor, Haley is hoping a strong showing there could propel her into the March 5th Super Tuesday contests. But in a deeply conservative state where Trump is exceedingly popular, those ambitions may be tough to realize, and a home state loss could prove politically devastating. On the Democratic side, Biden won his party's primary, but had to do so via a write-in effort. The Democratic National Committee voted to start its primary next month in South Carolina, but New Hampshire pushed ahead with its own contest. Trump's early sweep through the Republican primary is remarkable, considering he faces 91 criminal charges related to everything from seeking to overturn the 2020 presidential election to mishandling classified documents and arranging payoffs to a porn actress. He left the White House in 2021 in the grim aftermath of an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, led by his supporters who sought to stop the certification of Biden's win. And Trump was the first president to be impeached twice. Beyond the political vulnerabilities associated with the criminal cases, Trump faces a logistical challenge in balancing trials and campaigning. But Trump has turned those vulnerabilities into an advantage among GOP voters. He has argued that the criminal prosecutions reflect a politicized Justice Department, though there's no evidence that officials there were pressured by Biden or anyone else in the White House to file charges. As Trump begins to pivot his attention to Biden and a general election campaign, the question is whether the former president's framing of the legal cases will persuade voters beyond the GOP base. Trump lost the popular vote in the 2016 and 2020 elections and has faced particular struggles in suburban communities from Georgia to Pennsylvania to Arizona that could prove decisive in the fall campaign. If he returns to the White House, the former president has promised to enact a hardline immigration agenda that includes stopping migrants from crossing the U.S.-Mexico border and reimposing his first-term travel ban that originally targeted 7 Muslim-majority countries. Biden faces his own challenges. There are widespread concerns about his age at 81 years old. Dissent is also building within his party over Biden's alliance with Israel in its war against Hamas, putting the president's standing at risk in swing states like Michigan.